Of all the things that Disney could do to piss me off Star Wars wise right now, I think this is probably top of the list. Hey y'all, SnarkyJay cosplay here. It's been sort of quiet on the Star Wars front lately, which means it's about time for the rumor mill to start buzzing about something. And right now, what's currently being reported out of the rumor mill by a few sources is that Natalie Portman is currently in talks to come back to Disney Star Wars to reprise her role as Padmé Amidala. Now, Natalie Portman, as recently as 2023, supposedly, said that she was willing to return to Disney Star Wars to reprise her role, which is equal parts surprising and admirable. Natalie Portman has had a tremendous Hollywood career after the prequels, and her performance in the prequels was also not all that well received, being that everything in the prequels basically got flamed for years. So if I were her, I probably wouldn't want to touch Star Wars with a 10-foot pole, especially being that Disney has all but trashed it and even dedicated fans have decided to jump ship. However, the actress is supposedly considering coming back for a role in season 2 of Ahsoka. Now, we already knew that season 2 of Ahsoka was going to be happening because we got that announcement at some point last year, and so season 2 of Ahsoka is obviously going to continue where season 1 left off, but probably the one super redeeming quality about Ahsoka. I remind you that I actually quit watching the show, and I was told that I should at least go back and rewatch the flashback sequences, as well as the parts where Ahsoka and Anakin meet in the world between worlds. I did go back and watch those parts, and yes, they were, woo, exciting, how fun. I love Hayden Christensen, I really do. I love Hayden Christensen, I think about him all the time. But those sequences, as well as the ones featured in the other admittedly disappointing series Kenobi, they very much feel like they just jangled the keys and they were like, ooh, look, we brought Anakin back. That's kind of what it is, right? They give you a flashback, they make you feel nostalgic. You sit there and you pine for better times and you think about them, and then you basically put on the rose-colored nostalgia glasses and suddenly you're supposed to look at the rest of a piece of show like it's something great to write home about. And quite frankly, I don't think Kenobi or Ahsoka were saved by any of those sequences. Flashbacks, worlds between worlds, throwbacks, callbacks, nostalgia bait, none of it, to me, made a dent in how poorly done both of those shows were. Now, despite my complaints, it actually is a pretty big deal that Natalie Portman could be coming back as Padmé, because even though we got plenty of Padmé in the Clone Wars animated series, she was still a pretty big deal during that time period, the fact of the matter is that we have not seen a live-action Padmé since Revenge of the Sith. So admittedly, having her back in live action would be a pretty f***ing cool thing. After all, I've always thought that Padmé Amidala was a very interesting, well-written character, despite those lacking scripts by George Lucas. And to be completely honest, I know this is such a hot take, I very much like the chemistry between her and Hayden Christensen. I rest my case. I really enjoy them together. So, would it be awesome to see more of Padmé in live action? Absolutely, especially if we get her in these different sequences. Now, it's unknown if this all comes to fruition what Padmé's role could be, because obviously as of the time of Ahsoka, she's been dead for a long time, but we could be seeing her in Clone Wars flashbacks, or we could actually see her sort of visiting with Anakin in that world between worlds situation, which I think would be absolutely fucking brilliant. I think that that would be spine-chilling. However, it would need to rely on good writing, and that, my friends, is I think the big caveat here to Padmé potentially coming back, is that Disney has a very hard time writing good scripts anymore, and despite all of George Lucas's flaws in the prequels and all the mistakes with the dialogue, I always felt that Padmé Amidala was an incredibly complex and interesting character, and her character was fleshed out even more in the animated Clone Wars series. So for Disney to take hold of Padmé Amidala and bring her now into the Disney Star Wars universe would be difficult, and it would definitely need to be done well, and to be quite honest, I don't think Disney does anything with Star Wars well anymore, because even the things that they were doing well, they basically shit on, like The Mandalorian Season 3, and God willing, not Season 2 of Andor. Hopefully they keep going on a good track with that one. But at the end of the day, we can all see through this, right? Disney knows that they are in trouble. They're seeing the Star Wars fan base not exactly turn on them, but they're seeing them turn away from them. The Star Wars fandom is turning towards new interests and essentially leaving Star Wars in the dust. Kids are no longer as interested in Star Wars as they might have been, and attempts to rope people back into the franchise have all but failed. So what else can they do but to bring in these legacy characters from the original trilogy and now from the prequels in Padme to try and get new interest? I mean, at the end of the day, they're grasping at straws to try and keep your interest, keep your money, and especially keep you subscribed to Disney+. I long ago gave up my subscription, so I can't say that that's going to work on me, but I will say that if they do manage to bring in Padme, they'll at least have me watching out of curiosity. Whether or not they disappoint, and whether or not this all even happens, it is just a rumor after all, is entirely up to the fates, but I guess we'll see what happens. Ahsoka Season 2 is supposedly about to start production or has just started pre-production, so I'm sure we'll be seeing the fruits of all of that very soon. And that's all from me. I've been SnarkyJay. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. For more SnarkyJay, be sure to check me out on Instagram, and if you'd like to support me, this channel, and my content creation, do check out and consider subscribing to my Patreon for exclusive photo shoot sets and cosplay content. I'll add links to all of those in the description below, and let me know your thoughts on Padme coming back to Star Wars in the comments below.